First of all, thanks for the opportunity to come down here. John had mentioned, but I'm going to do a couple of housekeeping things first. Can everybody hear me? With or without the mic? Which is better? With? Okay. How about you guys? You doing okay? All right. Your handout comes in a PDF, okay? I'm going to show slides today, which is an iteration of what's in the handout. Okay? It's just the way I would like to present it rather than trying to copy the handout or send you out with PowerPoint presentation slides. That's not what I enjoy. However, that said, Amy has got this frequently asked questions. You guys are going to be educators, and you need to kind of pre-frame yourselves and preset yourselves with some of the questions that you're going to get thrown at you. This is pretty good, and the information and the responses are really pretty good on how you can speak with your new students. Okay. So with that said, what we're going to do, I'm going to cover some of the pieces of team building. I want this to be a forum. I want you guys to be involved in this. If you're not involved, it's not good. It doesn't mean anything. You're not here to be lectured at. Okay. So please join in. If you have questions along the way, I want you to talk to me about them, ask me questions, and we'll get some input from everybody in the class again. The other thing that John mentioned, I love Taekwondo, and because it taught me something that I never knew I could do. Okay, we have a kind of a motto, today not possible, tomorrow possible. But in order to get to that, you have to change yourself before you can change anything else. Okay? If you change yourself, everybody in the room changes along with you because your interactions change. So, with that said, let's get started. Here's my obligatory conflict of interest slide. So why are we building teams? There are a number of reasons. It's pretty hard work if you try and force it, but if you let people interact among themselves, it's a lot easier. You guys are interacting here. How long have you been together? Day two. Wow. You're already interacting. Okay? You basically started a friendship. So, other way, Kevin. Other way. I always do this. Why do we build teams? The results are better. It's been proven over and over again. The results are always better. Everything is much more efficient. We move a bit faster in the process. And, the people that are involved get a great deal more satisfaction out of, God, we got that STEMI in, and we looked at the EKG, we got it up to the cath lab in 3 minutes. Yes! Okay? And everybody feels good. And that sets the tone for what? The rest of the shift. We get a positive outcome, the rest of the shift becomes, and you're doing it together. It, again, sets the tone because all of a sudden that one person becomes everybody. That one patient that was involved becomes everybody. So the results in patient care is also significantly changed. Okay. Would you say that? When the ER is more efficient or when the rigs are more efficient, they can bring that patient into the ER? Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. This happened to me 2 days ago. God's truth. Had a paramedic that came in. She called a code STEMI, so an ST-MI or ST elevation MI noted on the monitor. She came in, gave it to me, and I'm going, I'm not seeing it, but I'm going to take your word for it because you saw the monitor at the scene that I didn't before you ran this rhythm strip. We ran the EKG in our department. It was perfectly stone cold normal. Historically, the patient passed out, was diaphoretic or near syncopal, and diaphoretic. 39 years old, family history significant for a father who died at 41 of an MI. Okay? That paramedic gave me a whole bunch of information in about 2 sentences. She hung around for a little bit. We got our lab back. We got our first troponin back, and it had bumped to 0.6. So my resident, I think I'm going to get another EKG. The STEMI, the code STEMI activates the cath lab. The cath lab stepped down. 20 minutes later, my resident gets the EKG, STMI. ST elevation MI. Full blown. Took him upstairs to the cath lab. Was cathed, had lost no myocardial function, had a right circumflex occlusion, and the whole rest of the shift was just smooth sailing. Okay? Just a story to bring it home. The results are better. Foregone conclusion. Work environment. We spend a lot of time at work, folks. Do you want to be miserable? I certainly don't. I enjoy working with people. I really enjoy teaching. I enjoy learning something new with each shift. That's why I went to regions. Jeff will tell you I was in Minot. I was a big duck in a little pond when I was there. I'd ask for something and I'd get it. So I went all the way down to the bottom rung and started climbing again. And I'm still not climbing well, but that's okay. It's learning. And what you need to do as teachers is vest these people in their own education. Okay? And I feel pretty strongly about that. Work environment. You got to make it better. You got to make people want to come to work and work with you. This whole program that the university is developing along with Dr. Allen is a program of attraction. You're the attraction. You're the guys who are out there selling this. And if you're having fun with it, they'll want to be part of it. If you're miserable, don't sign up. But you have to enjoy it. Okay? And excuse me, productivity. Let's talk about it real briefly. Teams in the corporate realm. First of all, there's nothing written in EMS team building. Nothing. Okay, there's lots of programs. There's about half a dozen programs out there where the EMS folks are teaching each other. But there's nothing written. Okay, so there's very little research on what efficiency. So some of the statistics that I'm going to throw at you, and they're very rudimentary, are all from corporate realm. Okay, and I apologize for that because we're comparing apples and oranges a little bit. In the corporate setting, teams are more expensive to begin with. They're, again, more efficient, more productive, but they're more productive after a period of 18 months. Again, corporate. It takes that time for the team to mature in its stages of development. And we'll go through that in a little bit. But it takes that period of time. As a result of the team, however, the productivity increases about a third. So they're up about a third from where they were previously. 30%. 30% increase in productivity. So remember that, a third. Morale, obviously, if you can keep them fired up, you're going to have more fun. Okay, you're creating a family, a network. Okay, not only you with them, but them with them. And you're going to try and teach them to be teams among themselves. Okay. Creativity. If you get, we were talking. Tell them a story, Andy. About teaching. What happened when you taught?
Well, we were talking, I was mentioning that I used to be a medic in the Army, and teaching was my tool for helping people, because as one medic in a platoon, I can't be out with everybody at the same time, but I can teach my soldiers how to be combat lifesavers. I can teach them how to start IVs and stop bleeding and decompress chest and things like that. And I had an effect. I saved or helped to treat more people through teaching than I ever did actually in the field hands-on. That was my way, that was my tool for treating people, was actually to teach those skills to other people more than actually putting my hands on them.
Thank you. Einstein said, real genius is what? He was asked, what is real genius? And he said, real true genius is recognizing the talent in others and putting it to work. No, you don't get to get any credit for it. That's just fine. That's just fine. That's that humility piece that you talked about this morning. So creativity. Allow people to be creative. Creative solutions make the world a better place. Job security. What do you think, Cliff? When you were on the team on the rigs, I know Cliff from way back. I told you I was a relic. He was 19 when he started. But we had fun. We played together. And even though we were, and he was just giving me grief about we used to have a cassette. It's a memory thing. Anyway, cassette tapes of the actual occurrences that happened at the scene when we were doing a code, and we would go over and over and over again because I could hear what they were saying. And they said after a while they quit talking because I couldn't harass them about anything. So it was kind of a neat thing to hear, and I just brought that back in. So there you have it. Personal improvement. I get better because I taught other people. When I can describe something or try and get my point across in a little bit different fashion to it where it fits the audience, then I've learned that concept better. Because I've explained it back to myself again. Okay, yeah, I get it, okay. Understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. So, that said, look like a code? It doesn't look like any code I ever saw. Do you understand what we're trying to get across here? Okay? Just by watching that way everybody interacted without necessarily being told on what to do. You know, it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. And that's really what a code should look like. Everybody's having fun, they're doing their thing, they're getting it done. But we're not sailing, we're taking care of patients. That makes it even better because they get to come back at us and say, yeah, you did a nice job. You did a nice job. Or we're teaching people to take care of patients where they get to hear they're doing a nice job and you get to get invited back. Go through some more training with them. That make sense? Okay. All right. Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world. In fact, they've done that. Okay? Founding Fathers of the United States. I'm always fascinated with the people in medicine that preceded Dr. Allen and me. Okay? That people like Thomas Edison, Harvey Cushing, that figured out what the diseases that they described. How can they figure that out? They didn't have the labs. They had to wait for these people to die so they could do the postmortems on them, figure out what was going on. How did they figure that out? So I kind of find those people fascinating, and that's part of that learning, that small groups of people making huge differences in the process of medical education. Okay. What attributes do we need to tap into in order to get the results, the teams that we want? Okay, of care providers. There's this amazing word salad, as you can see, that's associated with team building. Okay, I'm going to give you guys about 20 seconds. I want you to go through all of that stuff, because I'm going to ask you what are the two most important attributes that we have in creating a team. 10 seconds. Who's got it? Okay. Okay, trust. We got to trust here. What else? Come on.
Respect.
How many respects? Okay. How many trusts? What else? Risk. How many risks? Any other votes? Relationship. How many relationships? How many feedbacks? Two most important. Primo. Communication skills. How many? Okay. So we got kind of a mixed bag. Team building, yeah. Leave it to Cliff. Okay. Again, there's not a lot of literature on team building. Okay? So I went to a place that has the biggest team of all. Well, what's the biggest team in the United States? Biggest team. The government, okay, offshoot of the government. Military. Okay, Officers Candidate School. These guys have to instill in their people the concepts of the fact that they're leaders and they're not going to let them get hurt and nobody's going to get left behind and you're all part of a team. Okay? And I thought that was a pretty good source of information since there isn't really any other credible ones. Well, their concepts in all of this word salad is trust and commitment. And these are the two that we have to tap into where all the others kind of tumble right down. Okay? So this is the starting point. Do you trust? Do you trust that I'm giving you the straight shot or the straight stuff? Okay? Are you committed to staying here and listening to me? That's all I need. That's all I need to have an effective presentation. Okay? And that's all you're going to need. Okay. So let's talk about, trust building first of all. So, competence. Obviously, the teacher needs to be competent, and you have to have people around you that are competent. So, the formation of this trust is based on competence. Okay, integrity. Are you saying what you mean? Or are you playing the politics? And I think that's something that you have to sort out for yourself and sort out with the people that you're trying to teach. Okay, tell the truth. My mom used to say people are given one thing in life, time, and you owe people one thing in your life, your honesty. That's it. So say what's on your mind, say it honestly, and for God's sake, don't waste their time. So sum things up. Being gracious, having the integrity to stand up and say, oh, and the other piece of integrity is what else? Being able to say, I'm wrong. Okay. Obviously, you guys are concerned for others. You're here. You've been in the medical community. Okay. How many of you are volunteers? Okay. Great. My hat's off to you, ma'am. Okay. Those kinds of activities show concern in addition to what we do for a living. Okay. How many of you are married? Is there concern there? Are you kind of married to your job? Kind of married to your wife? Kind of married to your kids? Kind of married to your community, your church? All of those things. So that's what we're trying to develop also in team trust building, is a commitment and a concern for everybody else. Once we do what? What do we have to do to make this concern for others paramount? What do we have to do? That has to be part of our goal, the thing we're reaching for. Okay? That's part of our goal, is that concern for others. Okay, our communication skills. I'm terrible at it. But our ability to summarize, capsulize, and get our people to communicate with each other, okay, to make that team. Okay. You kind of getting where I'm going with this? Okay. Now we're going to go into, so that's the first 4 elements of the 9 attributes of team building. Next part, commitment building. Motivation to participate. I kind of got you guys fired up, but I'm going to get you fired up a little bit more because we're going to have some exercises here in a little bit on how to get you on what I think is an interesting way to teach. So motivate to participate. Value the purpose of the team. Again, we have to describe the goal of the team and where we're going with it. Get them to buy in. Get them to brainstorm. Have them tell us how they're going to arrive at that goal. You're a director. You're kind of a guide to teach them how to get to where they're going. Well, maybe we can do this. How do you want to get there? And let them work through it. How many of you have ever gone on a mission? Okay, for developing in a developing country. Dr. Allen, what's the big thing that we have to be careful of?
Not getting the GI Bill.
Yeah.
You want to, when you're at these small areas, if you're doing medical care, you want to make sure that you are not coming in there as the team that's going to solve it and then leave them dead in the water when you leave. You need to make sure that you come in there and work with their current teams to enhance what they already do.
Exactly. No suggestions. How can you incorporate or integrate what we have or what we've done and what we've learned into your system? Okay? Defibrillators. Well, they've got the, who has that question this morning? People like to use their own defibrillators. Okay? Same thing. Incorporate or invest them that says, okay, you got good stuff, you know, it's workable material, let's go through this and how do you use it. Okay? So, part of the team's purpose. Rewards and group recognition. You guys are going to be rewarded regardless of what happens. You're going to walk away feeling good about yourself, right? There's that thing with Einstein again, that thing called genius. Let them get the rewards. Okay, rewards and recognition. I love the phrase, and I use it in Taekwondo all the time. Praise in public, criticize where? In private. Never openly. Okay? So, good kind of, it's a good way to live. Okay. And an opportunity to learn and grow. That's foregone conclusion. Everybody gets better when they learn. And then the positive environment, that thing with, I want to live because I work enough, I live in my work enough that I want to have some enjoyment with it. Okay, I want to do it, I want to have some fun with it. Okay, so the fundamentals of teamwork in summary. Let's go through this. Trust, commitment, right? That's where we start. Those are our two building blocks. You're going to be a coach, and you're going to get these people to, or try and get these teams together that you're going to have the ability to direct. Okay. Okay. Share information with, the networking that you guys are going to do with each other, and then I'll bet you money that you're going to leave your email with the teams that you're teaching. Okay? They're kind of your kids. You know, if you want to put it out there loosely. And then you have to have the flexibility, this is your take on, you have to have the flexibility to, again, listen to what environment they are in and to move forward with that in a positive fashion. And then what's the other piece of the flexibility? Teach their leadership how to be flexible with their teams. Okay? And then obviously, good manners. Speak well of each other. Okay? That's just social grace. It's just common sense. Okay. So let's talk about, I'm going to shift gears on you a little bit. This is going to be the stages of development, what a team goes through when they start to develop themselves. The formation, okay, they're coming together. Okay? Teams get picked. Does everybody stay on the team? No. In some of these rural volunteer communities, there's as much as a 50% attrition rate in a year. Okay, so half of them are gone at the end of a year. What we want to do is train people so that they stick around. Okay, and so the formation piece is a little bit difficult, and we're working in that 12 to 18 month time frame where a team matures and becomes productive through these stages of development. So the formation, selection, kind of going to be an important piece. Then you go through the storming period. How many of you have heard this? Forming, storming, norming, performing. Okay? It's kind of then there's an adjournment, but we're not going there. Storming is when teams have conflict. They are stormy. Okay, and that's to be expected. And we have to teach the leadership that this is to be expected, and they're going to have to go through some conflict remediation and learn how to do that. Okay? I'm sure you guys are going to cover that a little bit later on in some of the exercises. But the storming piece, this is the rocky road. Then they're norming. Things are kind of smoothing out, and people are starting to communicate. They're starting to trust each other with their feelings, their sensibilities. Okay? Then you get into this performing period where people are they're sharing uninterrupted thought process. Okay? They aren't afraid of getting put down. It's back and forth. Dr. Ellen, why are we doing this in the code? The why word can be used without offending anybody. What are you doing that for? And you can start answering. You just blurt it out. Okay? You're going to wind up going through that with your teams as well as they're going to go through that with themselves. Okay? So performing. This is where they start emailing you. Okay? And they say, hey, you know what? We had a success. Or they wind up teaching somebody else. Okay? So, this is the way the military looks at it. It's formation, enrichment, where people are yipping at each other. How many of you saw, what was the name of the show? SEALs training. Demi Moore was in it. G.I. Jane. All of the harassment that she took at the beginning, okay? And then suddenly, they saw that she could take everything that was handed her, and she did just fine. And she was just one of the boys, part of the team, okay? In spite of all the preemptive biases that were there. And then the sustainment. How does this team keep together? This is a big piece, I think, that the rural community wants to try and attain, is that sustainment where there isn't that huge turnover. And they have some veterans. Okay. All right. Team assembly. This is going to get a little windy. I'm going to kind of go through this real quickly. Okay? Coming together is the beginning. Working together is progress. Staying together is triumph. I wrote this. I was wise at one point. Okay? It's kind of an interesting, way of kind of summing it all up for me. Coming together is the beginning. Working together is progress. Staying together is real triumph. Okay, so I'm not going to do this to you. I refuse. I refuse. It's in the handout. Assessment, you guys are going to have to put up with this. That hasn't been mentioned before. What factors break down a team? In its function, in its potential, and obviously all of this has to do with patient safety concerns. Okay? And specifically relative to the EMS setting because you're teaching EMS personnel. But EMS, as I tried to illustrate to you, that young lady's gut response to this guy's cardiac process set the stage for everything that happened in the hospital. Okay? So EMS is very, very important. Something to remember. There's no I in there. So you don't get to take, nobody gets to take a pat on the back. You can tell that the personnel and the paramedics and that you're training right away. There's no I in teamwork. Okay. Archetypes of an ill team. And I'm going to go back to another video. Is everybody okay with profanity? I didn't do the profanity. Okay, this is from a movie. Okay, but I want you to watch this movie clip. There's a few cuss words in it, and you'll recognize it.
160 miles and closing in fast, sir.
Ready, Willard and Simpkin up. Catch 3 and 4.
Maverick supersonic. I'll be there in 30 seconds.
Move your ass. Get up here. I'm engaged with 5. Repeat 5. I'm in deep shit.
What about Willard and Simpkin?
Both catapults are broken. We can't launch any aircraft yet, sir.
How long?
It'll take 10 minutes.
Bullshit, 10 minutes. This thing will be over in 2 minutes. Get on it.
One big 12 o'clock high. One big 12 o'clock high. Watch your back. Watch your back. Break right. Shit, that was close. Maverick, how about the belt down here? Where the hell are you, goddamn?
Come on, kid. Hang in there.
Jesus Christ.
Maverick, how about some help? Engage, goddammit! Maverick, we got a MiG on our tail. Watch out, watch out! Shit, we just flew right through his jet wash! Get control now, get control! Good recovery, Mav. Okay, let's get in there. Come on, we gotta help ice. Come on, let's get back and engage, Maverick. Come on.
It's no good.
Get in there, Maverick.
It's no good.
God damn it! Maverick's disengaging. I knew it. Shit.
God damn it, Maverick!
Get in there, Maverick. You can't leave him. Come on, Maverick. What the hell are you doing?
Talk to me,
Maverick,
Moose.
get in there, for Christ's sake. Ice is in trouble. He's got no cover. Get in there, Maverick. You won't last down there alone. Get in the fight, for Christ's sake. Maverick! Maverick!
Maverick's re-engaging, sir.
I can't get him off my tail.
Ike, I've got your MiG dead ahead. I've got him dead ahead. Good tone. I got good tone. I got tone. I got tone. Fire it!
What did you see? What are the characteristics that you saw? So first of all, bring up Maverick. What did you find? What did you see in that person?
Hesitation.
Okay. Hesitation, self-doubt. Okay. What else?
Confidence afterwards.
Okay. Something happened. Okay. How about Iceman? He had trust issues, didn't he? Yeah. And he was pretty, yeah, full of himself. Okay. What about Merlin? He was scared, and he was kind of, what the hell am I doing here? And we're going to come to that character type here in a minute, and we'll talk about. And then, how about the commander?
Definitely direct and in charge.
Yeah. Pretty calm, you know, kind of the leader, you know, he's kind of the director. He's kind of knowing what he's figuring out what he's doing. He's comfortable in his own skin. Except when he said, you know, he was the one most disappointed when Maverick broke off.
His high expectations for his team, I think, is what that showed.
So, see the different archetypes that we're looking at? And so the narcissist, obviously Iceman. He was not my favorite either. But this is the guy who's always full of himself, center stage. Me. A me person. Okay. Then we got the Joker. Who would it be on that one? Merlin. Merlin strikes me a little more as the misfit. What the hell am I doing here? But the Joker person was, catapults are both broken. You know, that's really funny. You know, that was the archetype that I kind of envisioned when I was selecting this clip. So the politician. I didn't have a politician in there, unfortunately, but who's the politician? He's the guy who plays both ends against the middle. You know, discrediting some and, you know, so that they look good. Kind of a little bit narcissistic, but we had names for them in high school. I don't want to share them here. But the politician, for lack of a better word, the guy who plays the bureaucracy against other members of the team, okay, kind of undermines or undercuts their activities. And that's particularly true of administrative personnel. The politicians are the ones who try to undermine the leadership. And then the misfit, you know, the Merlin type. And these are the people that just, why are they there? They shouldn't be there from the get-go. And then the last one is the scoundrel. Who in that video did you see as the scoundrel? Anybody? Yeah. The Meg. Yeah, they're Meg. Okay, so all of those different archetypes are in that one little clip, and these are the things that we have to teach the leadership how to stop and redirect. They're fixable. Okay, just because I wasn't able to do a front kick the first day when I did Taekwondo, they didn't say go away. Well, they did. No, they didn't. Okay. 19 years later, I'm still here trying to do the first thing I learned. But the scoundrel, the guy who's, you know, again, undermining everything in the process. All right. Colin Powell said this, and we're going to go through this real quickly, and then I'm going to do a couple of exercises. The day a soldier stops bringing his problem to me is the day that you stopped leading them. They have either lost confidence in you, or in that you can help them, or they've concluded that you don't care. In either case, you're a failure in leadership. Okay? So being that sounding board, and again, this is where your social networking functions are so important, is that you guys will have the ability to network with these people after their training. Or, in your case, for the rest of your time here, to network with each other. Okay? All right. Why do teams fail? Real quick. 6 out of 10 teams will fail. These are corporate. New teams take time to reach pre-team performance levels. 58% of the frustration has to do with sustaining the motivation. You got to keep them fired up. Over 50% of them fail because unclear objectives, lack of accountability by management. How many of you like this one? Yes! Okay, that's one that is frequently very flagrant, but it's the team. It undermines the team spirit. Okay? Managers limit their team focus 56% of the time, is resulting in 56% of the time in a failure. They are limiting their focus. So the specifics. How many of you have been faced with this? Have you had either one of these kind of issues come up for yourself? I hate meetings. Meetings, I will not go to a meeting that doesn't have that the first thing that's brought up isn't productive. I will not, I refuse. I refuse. Okay? If you really, 60 or 70 little things, well, enough said. So let's actually go through the specifics. Lack of skills in the individuals performing. Missed basic talent. This is the training piece. Okay? Now, if you sell sim as better training, this piece is moot. It's moot. Lack of energy, can you get them fired up? Or can you get your simulator to get them fired up? Hi, Dr. Kilgore, you took care of me before. Okay? Lack of a clear focus. So state a clear focus in your opening statement to these people. Why are you there? Remember, is it attainable? Is it sustainable? Is it motivational or measurable? Okay? Consistent, unclear, conflicting, overloaded roles. So make sure that the leaders know that there can't be any conflict, or there has to be a clear-cut process and task and duty for their people. Measures of performance. Again, I'm going to draw my taekwondo stuff. If you give a 4-year-old a set of instructions, you will get your orange belt if you do the first 18 moves in your form. Okay? And that 4-year-old, because he knows the form, or knows what the target is, will hit it. They'll get it. A 4-year-old. So if the goals are set, they're clear and clearly stated, set the objectives, they'll get it. This is easy. Timely feedback. Praise in public. Okay, here's a couple more for you to take home. Okay. Performance indicators, this I'm going to just completely skip because there aren't any. Okay, I left a roster in there. That was a specific group. There are no clear-cut rosters for performance out there. It is area determined or group determined. So time to aspirin, or time to electrocardiogram, or time to vital signs from arrival. There is no specific EMS marker as a measure of value that's cast in gold. I left a list of about 26 of the most common in the appendix in the handout. So you can give those to the teams and they can pick what they want. Looks like this. I mean, it's just a mishmash. Low frequency, high mortality, medical conditions in the team approach. Okay, this is a little bit different way of teaching. Okay, and I'm going to give you a different teaching tool. And it's called critical action analysis. Who got A's on the little note card that you're passed out? Who got an A on it? Would the A's come down front? Okay. We're going to just go real quickly. Okay, and I'm going to paint a scenario for you. I want you to, you don't have a simulator with you, but I want you to think together, okay? Who's going to be the leader? Because you're going to do resuscitation. But you're going to have discussions too, okay? I want you to imagine what the picture I'm going to be painting, okay? And you have to imagine it together. This is kind of strange. Whoa. Okay, patient comes in and he's short of breath. Or a patient is, you arrive at the house of an individual who's stated as having shortness of breath. Okay? All right. What do you want to know?
How long? How short of breath? Any pain? Is it a history? Is it a new thing? Is it an old thing?
Color.
Okay. So let me give you the specifics. Okay. So patient comes is that's the other narrative. Come on. Huh? Okay, so this was a faux pas on purpose. Okay, critical actions. So a patient comes in. Now the story is that this was a 70-year-old guy who was at home and short of breath. That shortness of breath in the scenario that we use in simulation is that the patient has otherwise been pretty healthy other than diabetes. Sugars have been under good control on glyburide. When you arrive at the house, the patient is markedly short of breath. Obviously, the SATs are 88. Okay? Respiratory rate is 40. And what do you see on the EKG? So it's a sinus tachycardia, is actually what it is. If you don't ask for vital signs, the patient progressively gets worse. Okay, as they're becoming worse, if you don't provide oxygen, they become worse. Okay? Once you provide the oxygen, the patient begins to decompensate. Uh-oh. I'm not going to get into the why, when would that happen, because it's not worthwhile in this scenario, but they get worse, and you have to re-examine after the accident, or this is kind of happening concurrently. So the team leader would have you two establishing IV and administering oxygen, okay, or directing you to do that. If you don't re-examine, you don't notice that there's no breath tones over the right hemithorax. Okay? Respiratory rate issues, shortness of breath, supraventricular tachycardia. What do you got? And breath tones that are absent over the right. Tension pneumothorax. Okay? Establishing a definitive airway is the final critical action. So when you're doing these sims, there should be critical action in there. Not every action that they do, but ones that are absolutely critical to the patient's recovery. Okay? Well, I want to obtain a set of electrolytes and a blood count. Okay? Okay, that's fine, but it's not a critical action, but much as we were talking about. Okay? Is it okay to do the labs? Absolutely. Is it a critical action? It is not. Unless their sugar is 2. Okay? So, recognition of PEA becomes pulseless. Okay? You guys glad you came up front? Thanks for helping me. Okay, who's next? Who's got B? We got 2 minutes. Come on down front, B's. Who's the leader? Okay, case narrative. 20. Is this a 15-year-old?
15-year-old.
15-year-old comes in, or you're called to the pool side. Was that a pool party? Correction, 17-year-old. I'm sorry. Let me put it up here. There you go. Got it? Okay. Who's the leader? What you gonna do?
Figure out, we're going to talk about the call on the way to the call. We've got a possible drowning at a pool, and we get there, we see these things, we're going to have PSI.
Tell them what to do.
And we're going to get the equipment ready to mobilize this person, and we're going to make sure we have an airway have for an airway?
Nothing.
No, then we're gonna open the airway with C-spine precautions. Open the airway. There you go.
Okay. He's talking. He's answering this. Okay. So what do you do?
So we're gonna assist his ventilation.
Yeah, but you walk up and you do what?
Is he talking?
Right. Introduce it. Well, we're gonna introduce. We're gonna have BSI. We're gonna introduce ourselves. We're gonna take care of you. And what's the matter? Can you spit out your snooze? I had that on a real call and he couldn't, so then I really knew he was in trouble. Okay, so
Well, let's write that up.
C-spine compromise. We're going to protect the C-spine.
Okay.
His airway, assist ventilation. We're going to gear up to immobilize him.
Tell them what they.
Get your backboard, get your equipment out. Let's get him on the cot and get going towards emergency room.
If I did this and I said, John, you're in charge of cervical spine immobilization. Tamara? Yep. You're gonna set up or establish a central line, and Clifford, you're gonna be team leader. Or a peripheral line, or whatever. Okay. You know, I mean, what did I do though? What did I do? Delegated by name. By name.
We always used to say rescue, get him on the C-spine.
Yeah. If I get somebody and I want, isn't that a friendly way of making the team alive? Sure. Recognize somebody. John, do this. Tamara, do this. Cliff, do this. Please. Yes? Absolutely. And then, and I made a mistake because I should have said, John, immobilize cervical spine. Tamara, start an IV and tell me when you're done. Tell me when you're done. Okay?
Can we make it a law that every healthcare provider has to have a 1-inch letter?
I'm actually, with these, 2. Okay, so what are the critical actions? Cervical spine immobilization, you got it. Okay, the examination. Okay, heart rate was 30. Okay, what do you want? What are you going to do? What are you thinking? Yeah, this is kind of the thing that I'm not supposed to teach in trauma that really does happen occasionally. Okay. So, what are you going to do next then? Early transport or assiduous preparation for transport, right? So is he going on a board? Yeah. Okay.
He's immobilized on the board. He's on the cot.
I've got an IV in.
We're moving to the ambulance.
Tell me. Don't tell me. Tell him.
I got an 18 gauge left arm.
We're gonna call.
And our pressure is 80 over 40.
John, give the emergency room a call, let them know we're coming in with a trauma.
Okay. Thank you.
With?
C-spine compromise and loss of feeling. So, yeah, give them a detailed report of what happened. Call the trauma team. Let them know the vitals. Give an IV going, so we're gonna, Tamara, open up the IV and see if we can get more fluid.
Okay, doesn't work.
Well, we're just gonna live with what we got till we
Okay. This is one of the situations where you can use atropine and get away with it.
give a little atropine.
Okay, pacemaker. Pacemaker. Okay, and the atropine. Done. Pretty hard, huh? Okay. Any questions? I'm 4 minutes over. Come on. Questions?
How do you get that person that's not motivated to participate?
I jump up and down.
No, I'm serious. You know, I'm the educator, and sometimes it's really hard to get people motivated to participate in education. And you talked about making sure that people are invested in their own education. How do you motivate people to become invested in their own education?
Some are misfits. Some shouldn't be there. But, you know, I mean, that said, there's always, you know, and I get this from my ADD kids in the TKD, and then I've got ADD adults too. And, but if they succeed, give them a small task. And if they succeed in that small task, you can start building.
Well, it's like saying empowerment is knowledge. Like give them a small, like you just said, give them a small piece of it and make them accountable for that.
Do you want your orange belt? Okay. Do you want your green belt? You know, do you want your black belt? What do you want? What do you want? That's how I motivate people. What do you want? You know, what did Dr. Allen want that first night we met? Help!
I didn't beat around the bush, did I?
No. I'm dying here, Kevin. I got a GI bleeder. It was going south on me. Okay. Again, with all the mishmash in team building, there's really only two words. Trust and commitment. Okay? You guys work on that. You develop that in your teams out there in the field. You're going to succeed. You will succeed. Okay. Thanks for listening.